Hello everyone, Danny here today wearing my new hat. You like that? Love hats. Love getting a new hat. To talk to you about the audiobook Radioactive Evolution, written by Richard Hummel, narrated by two narrators. I use two narrators, Armen and Anneliese Rennie. I apologize if I mispronounced anyone's name, although I actually think I got them correct this time. This was a book that I was asked to listen to and review. And when I was asked, I read the publisher summary and I got excited. I was like, this sounds like just a really super cool book. It did not let me down. This is a super cool book. This is a book that combines multiple genres. You have elements of lit RPG in there. You have fantasy elements in there. You have techno elements in there. You have a dystopian post-apocalyptic feel to the book. It takes all of those different genres and combines them into one book and does a really, really good job of it. However, before I get into that, I have a favor to ask of you. If you love audiobooks, or even books in general, please subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, come join me in my audiobook journey. Now, this is a book where it hits the floor running. I've had a lot of books lately that you read the reviews of the book, or family members of mine that listen to the same books I do will talk about them, and they'll all say they started out slow. Some of the books, I agree, they started out slow. Some of them didn't start out slow for me. This one I don't think would start out slow for anyone. This one starts off with the main character. It's a post-apocalyptic. The world's been destroyed by nuclear war. And you have these floating cities up in the sky where all the rich, wealthy, evil people. It is one of those books. It's always interesting to me, books and TV shows and movies, to where the rich people are all evil. They're all evil. Every one of them. They're all on this big plot to whatever kind of a thing. But that's the way the book is. All of the rich people are evil. They're all living up in these clouds above the radiation. Everyone else on Earth uses nanites, little submicroscopic technology to survive the new radioactive Earth. And he's left the colony. The colonies work for the cities, and they're supplied by the cities. And he's decided he's tired of that. He wants to go out on his own and become an explorer. And so we meet him as he's exploring New York City. And he faces some monsters, and he's in desperate need of finding nanites, because you've got to refresh your nanites every couple of years or you die or go crazy kind of a thing. And he ends up discovering and bonding with a dragon. Now, according to the book, dragons have been around for decades and decades and decades. However, mankind started hunting them, and so they all left, went underground, went into the deepest parts of the ocean, went into places man doesn't go, so that they could live in peace. Now they've decided it's time to come back. They're tired of this secluded life. They're going to come back. And they are going to find humans to help them turn this into a world where humans and dragons can live peaceably. And so he finds this dragon egg, and he ends up bonding with the dragon. Now, here's one of the cool parts, and here's where the lit RPG element of it comes into play. Through the technology, through the nanites, that's how he bonds with that dragon. His nanites bond with the nanites in the dragon, and then they're able to interact. They can speak telepathically, but it's not actually his mind communicating with hers. It's his nanites communicating with hers. And then, if they want to grow and become more powerful, here's the lit RPG element again, they have to go out and defeat other creatures and absorb their nanites. And when they absorb their nanites, they can then use those nanites, assign them to different categories to make themselves smarter, more powerful, whatever they think they need, faster, whatever they think they need at that time. On top of that, if that creature that they defeated, if its nanites had learned any special abilities, like, how to control its body temperature, how to camouflage itself so it looks like it completely disappears, then when they kill that animal, they absorb those nanites, they absorb that ability, and they can gain special abilities, speed up, slow down, all kinds of different stuff like that. There's lit RPG. We have the dystopian, post-apocalyptic future that this is occurring in. We have the lit RPG elements. You have the dragons, which bring the fantasy element into play, and you have the technology in the nanites. You have the technology in the fact that you've got drop ships that they battle. They use, guns and pistols and special phase pistols, which I assume are like ray guns that they're using. That's kind of the way they sound, is they use like ray guns as well, which are the phase pistols. So you have the technology element in there. Well, he and the baby dragon, who happens to be the matriarch, he bonds with her as the mom is dying, and he makes a promise to the mom that, one, he'll protect the dragon, and two, he will help to turn this world, to defeat the evil in the world and turn this world into a place where man and dragon can live safely. And it becomes very clear right away the way that they're going to do that is by overthrowing the cities. Now, this is the first book in a series. So you don't have him overthrowing the cities in this book. He doesn't even launch an attack on the cities in this book. Instead, him and Scarlet, which is the name of the dragon, and honestly, I should have listened to a little bit of the book before I started this video, because I can't remember the main character's name, and it's like right on the tip of my tongue right there. As soon as I stop the video, it'll flash into my mind. But the dragon's name is Scarlet. Him and Scarlet need to get stronger. There's no way they're ready. And so they go out, they explore, they work on getting stronger. He works on trying to find allies. Now, this was an interesting part of the book that I wasn't sure if I liked it or if I did not like it. Hang on a second. He is almost borderline obsessed with being a pacifist. He doesn't want to kill anything. He doesn't want to kill anyone. How are you going to take over the cities and defeat all that evil without, some killing involved in there, especially when the evil people themselves have no such compunctions? And I like, now, if you go read a little bit about the author, that was actually a goal of the author. And I did. I went and I read a little bit about the author, and that was a goal of the author with this series. He wanted to bring out that contrasting, viewpoint in his character, that conflict, that internal conflict of, hey, I don't want to kill, but then I'm put in situations where I have to kill. I'm put in situations where I end up killing. And now I have to deal with what that does to me emotionally. And it adds another element to the book. And he does. He gets in these situations. And, of course, Scarlet has absolutely no problem killing. She's an apex predator. Killing is what she does. And so there's times when, like, Scarlet's, we need to kill him. And he's like, we're not going to kill him. And Scarlet listens to him. They don't kill him. And they end up paying the price of not killing what needed to be killed. And then oftentimes he ends up having to kill them later. And then, as in real life, there are those times to where Scarlet's like, we need to kill him. And he's like, no, we're not going to kill him. And Scarlet ends up listening to him. They don't kill them. And that turns out to be the right choice. So life's that away. There are times where, in order to defend what you love, you have to go into combat. And you have to kill. But those are very specific times. And if you apply that solution to everything, then you're wrong. But at the same time, if you go, hey, I'm worried that I will, kill the wrong person, so I'm never, no matter what the circumstances are, going to use violence as an answer, then you end up paying the price from those times when violence was the actual answer. And that's one of the things I like about the book. And so he's trying to actually come to terms. He ends up rescuing some people that have been truly enslaved. And I'm not going to give a spoiler away, but they were enslaved by a creature that should never have enslaved anyone. And like I said, I don't want to give things away, but it is a shock to Scarlet and to him and to everyone when they find out what had them enslaved. It's surprising to you when you find out. And so he's got this community that they start working together, and they've decided that yes, they need to defeat this evil of the cities in the sky kind of a thing together. They discover that they can bond with creatures other than dragons. And this community, now this is an interesting thing, this community that he gathers around him is, after so many years of slavery, very weak. And it's interesting that the author went that way with it. He did not gather a community around himself that was, physically strong or, had all these special combat skills or anything like that. It's a weak, the entire book, he's defending them. Him and Scarlet are the only reason this group is still alive. And now they're following his leadership. There's a romantic element to it that's really, really interesting, because the gal that he's, falling for is described as extremely beautiful, but also has razor sharp pointed fangy teeth and gills on the side of her neck and kind of an alien look about her. So I'm trying to picture her in my head, what she would look like. And I got to admit, if this was ever made into a movie, I'd be real curious as to see what they made her look like. How would you get her to have the features that the book says she has and still be this amazingly beautiful woman? I'm sure it can be done. I just can't picture it in my head, quite honestly, and that part is really, really interesting. There's some discord in the group. The group is not just 100% behind him. There's a little bit of discord in there, which I'm curious to see going forward, what problems that's going to bring out. I'm curious to see going forward how he deals with that. I know how I would have dealt with it, but him and I have different viewpoints on how to deal with certain situations. We have different viewpoints on violence. Quite honestly, I would be a little more liberal with my violence than he is. I would not be as restrained as he is. And I'm not saying I'm right and he's wrong. I'm just saying that due to those differences in our viewpoints, I'm curious to see how he ends up dealing with this element in his group that is causing discord. I know how I would have already dealt with it before now. And I'm not saying I would have killed them, but they would have been kicked out of the group and sent on their way. That's how I would have dealt with it. That's not how he has dealt with it. So I'm curious to see going forward does he win them over and eventually win them to his side? Or does he eventually end up wishing, hey, I wish I'd kicked them out earlier, which is what I would have done. So there's a lot of things going forward. The book ends with, dragons, the rest of her family of dragons, on their way back. She's got in touch with her family. They're on their way back. And then that's where the book ends. It actually caught me by surprise when the book ended. This is another one where I was into this story. I was listening and I misread the time. So with Audible, you can see how much time is left on the book. And I misread the time on the book, so I thought there was like 8 hours left on this book, and instead there was like 8 minutes. And so I started the book up. I was doing some painting out in my shop, and I started up and I'm painting and I'm listening, and the book's over. And I'm like, oh snap! Okay, well I guess it's time to record my video. On that note, if you like the video, please hit the like button. If you like my channel, subscribe. Turn on notifications. Questions, comments, feedback, please put them in the comment section. I promise you, I will get back to you. But most importantly, no matter what else you do today, make sure that today you listen to at least one really good audiobook. And I highly recommend Radioactive Evolution by Richard Hummel. Thank you.